Hello and welcome to We Could Do It Better. I am Jonah Maple, and coming around in just a second is my co-host Grant Koven. We have a fair amount to cover today. There's the Penguin wrapped up. We're going to be talking about that. Arcane.
So spoilers be warned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but later. And Arcane came back. There's some comics and a lot of interesting stuff happening in comics this week. And then we're going to have a main event talking about our favorite and least favorite, or the best and worst retcons in pop culture, in our opinions.
All right. So, yes. Captain America. Let's talk about Captain America first, and then we can get into Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and Multiverse of Movies.
So, I've got based off of what we've seen from the trailers.
Yeah. And those of you unaware, there's a new trailers dropped.
I got some special looks
for some stuff, but especially Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts asterisk from D23 in Brazil.
Yeah. So Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
He's clearly affected by whatever trance that the Winter Soldier was in throughout some of the Captain America.
Oh, movies. I didn't catch that. Well, I mean, I assume that there's some
really
mental stuff happening.
Okay. Well. It's under my impression because, he in the first trailer that we saw for Captain America: Brave New World, he looked brainwashed. The way he was shooting at him, he's kind of old at this point, so he was very spry with just how he was handling himself.
Yeah.
With his age, I feel like they would have to do the dad get up where it's
Yeah.
But he stood up very quickly and he was very athletic. It very much looked like he was in trance. And upon watching this new trailer with you, literally 20 minutes ago, it's becoming apparent to me that whoever is behind the brainwashing might be doing it to other agents underneath Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. Because
there were a couple of hallway scenes, and Sam Wilson said of himself your team is compromised. There are people on the inside. Now, whether they're brainwashed or not, that's, I guess, up to our interpretation for now. But it really does look like, for now, someone has weaponized the words used. I don't know. It does look like brainwashing.
Yeah. That's the type of.
So part of it looks like brainwashing, but then we've also got what looks like foreign affairs over the giant celestial hand sticking out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Right now,
which is fun.
Right. So we've got multiple problems. I feel like usually there's one central problem in a Marvel movie, but with this, you got brainwashed agents, or at least what it looks like brainwashed agents. Yeah. You've got to deal with foreign affairs because I think it was confirmed that the celestial hand is completely made out of adamantium, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think that was the word that they used.
Yeah. Which adamantium is the same metal which Wolverine's whole body is made out of. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's a super strong metal, super high melting point.
Yeah.
Nearly indestructible.
Yeah. Overall, I'm very excited for this trailer. I mean, for this movie, it looks interesting and different, and it looks like a spy movie.
Right. We were saying, this does not feel like the Marvel movies that we've grown up with, and I'm okay with that. It looks like they finally realized that there was a formula to their movies, and there was superhero fatigue. Not from me, but I'm saying from a lot of the other people. I'll probably never get tired of Marvel, hopefully. But it looks like they're trying to break out of that formula, and it kind of looks like they're breaking out of that formula too with the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Which, somewhat. I mean, but it's gonna. It's a superhero team movie. There's jokes and stuff, but also dealing with stuff in a new way.
Right. You've got themes of family. I mean, it's really funny to me because you've got two dudes on the team who have a shield, right? Everyone is highly trained in some sort of mixed martial arts, right? And then, except for Bob.
Yeah. Well, that is the other interesting thing from this trailer. We got more stuff. Actually, there's the same amount of emphasis on Bob, who is going to be the Sentry.
Right. No one has any outstanding superpowers outside of Ghost.
In the Sentry. But like,
well, right, but we don't.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that it's the Sentry yet, or at least we're not supposed to know it's the Sentry yet.
But but even Ghost powers, it's kind
Simple.
of,
It's not like laser visions, flight.
Yeah, it's she's just like an operative.
All of them are/were humans.
Yeah,
like without powers at one point in their life.
And
so everything about them has been genetically modified, if it has happened.
Yeah, and I do think that is an interesting thing about this movie, because you're just gonna have a bunch of like quote unquote normal people, right?
Yeah,
and then you have the Sentry, who is like God.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Apollo,
which I think they did that on purpose, because my theory is they're going to have to fight the Sentry at some point. Like, either the Sentry is meant to dispose of all of the Thunderbolts, or the government messed up and they're like, oh crap, we made the Sentry, we can't contain them, we're going to send Thunderbolts because they're expendable. Maybe they'll die in the process, maybe he'll die. We'll have to see what happens. So it's either a government cover-up. Well, it's a government cover-up no matter what. It's shady. They're black ops. So either they're covering up and trying to dispose of the Thunderbolts, or they're trying to dispose of the Sentry. It's going to go one way or the other. Yeah,
I'm more excited for Captain America 4. I'm also kind of excited for Thunderbolts. It sounds like a fun time. We also got more news in terms of James Gunn has said that he has, I believe he said on Threads, that he has the Superman trailer finished.
Which, how dare he not show it yet?
Yeah.
How dare he? Because I feel like this is about the time. You know what? We're probably going to get it for the Super Bowl.
I hope we get it sooner than that, just because I want to see it.
So do I.
I'm so nervous.
But if you think about Deadpool and Wolverine, the first trailer was shown during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that was a July release.
Yeah, but that was also like when they were still filming at that time, and Superman finished filming in the summer.
Oh, I guess that's true.
So it's a little bit different there. And yeah. And it's done on his hard drive. There've been like a lot of memes and stuff about like people just like stealing James Gunn's hard drive. Which I
feel like that funny. he right now is probably in like a list of people to cyber attack right now, right?
Oh yeah,
like someone's going to try to leak that trailer.
Well, I'm sure there's like backups and stuff. But I hope it doesn't get leaked. I hope we see it
because leaks suck. I hate leaks so much. Like, for the position that we're in, we kind of have to report in on leaks and stuff. But that's the one thing about this little gig that we've got that I'm not a fan of. Is like, we have to investigate. Like, sometimes I want to be super ignorant and just pretend nothing's happening and then be completely surprised by the time I watch the movie. But guess what? Deadpool and Wolverine got leaked for me.
Well,
there could have been some really cool surprises. I'm sorry. I keep talking
no, it's fine. I was gonna build on that. Well, until like a year ago, I didn't watch trailers. So that's been kind of different for me, because like I didn't because this is a decision I made after Last Jedi, because I saw The Last Jedi and I had been like studying the trailer, and it's just like, oh, so many of the cool things of this movie would have been so much better if I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then the other time. And then I eventually got paid off with Across the Spider-Verse, when there were a lot of people were like, this was a great movie, but like I kind of like, but like the trailer kind of spoiled everything. Because like, oh wow, like I had no idea anything that was gonna happen.
If I could live in a world without trailers, I would.
But on the other hand, on the other side, I am kind of, it is fun to kind of like analyze these things.
Oh yeah.
And like build up hype about it, and like that's that is also fun.
Like part of the trailers is to have that hype and excitement, and initially that's what brings people to the box office.
Speaking of hype, it has been confirmed Denzel Washington is going to be, and it like has agreed to and was written a part for Ryan Coogler's Black Panther 3, which is so exciting.
Which is also, I didn't even talk about this with you, but where is Denzel Washington? Like, when are we getting Black Panther 3? Because currently it's not even on the Marvel schedule at all, which means this is definitely taking place after Secret Wars.
Yeah. Like his kid? I don't know.
Right, because I mean the kid at the end of Wakanda Forever, he's definitely getting older because Wakanda Forever released in 2022, and right.
I think
Yeah,
it's
2022.
I think it's basically impossible to speculate on anything after Secret Wars.
That's so valid, but that means Ryan Coogler.
But
knows?
he
has to know what happens in Secret Wars.
yeah,
Right?
or like some of it, or like
Like
some of the
how do you
basics.
write something after another culmination of everything?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that stuff gets rewritten because Marvel isn't very good at like sharing.
That's fair.
But I'm excited nonetheless because Denzel Washington is the greatest of all time in my opinion and in a lot of people's opinions, and he can play really any character.
I'm hoping for a villain or an ancestor.
But literally any any character that he can physically he can literally he has played every type of character
Right.
from like the worst guys to like the best guys to like every single type of the way that you can be in between.
Right.
He has played and he has played phenomenally. All right, we're gonna move on to Don't Change the Channel. So we're gonna talk about the Penguin. Now.
Penguin spoilers ahead
for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's put it at 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we'll circle back. So if you haven't seen the Penguin yet, which what are you
Yeah.
doing if you haven't seen the Penguin?
If you haven't seen the Penguin and you want to, come back at 3:23, and we'll see you then.
Yeah. So we're gonna get right into this because we've got a lot to talk about. Because I have seen some crazy theories, stuff I didn't pick up in the last episode.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what a piece of work.
Yeah.
Like that's art.
Yeah, episode 8 finished last time, and it continued to be a great show.
Finale.
And it continued to surprise me along the way, and also it surprised me, but like all of the decisions that the characters made make sense. Like all of the surprises made sense after the fact, but I also didn't see them coming.
Yeah.
That
So
was great.
let's get the elephant out of the room. I want Batman. I want vengeance. I want vengeance for Vic.
Yeah.
Not justice. I want vengeance for Vic. Right? Because what I think we were losing sight of throughout the show was Penguin is the bad guy. Oscobb is the bad guy. And that's something we forgot about.
Yeah.
I feel like. And then it was the last episode, and they really nailed it to us because, Vic was going on about how, Oz was like, you've been beside me at my lowest points. Vic calls Oz like family. We're like, oh, this is a sweet moment. They're going to rule, Gotham together. And then Oz starts putting him in a chokehold.
Yeah, because in this Gotham, you cannot trust family.
I guess
and
not.
I think that's great. Well, in every single beat of this story and in a lot of the first Batman movie was not being able to trust family. I think where we ended up with the Penguin is so because it's the character did he grew and he
he went through tremendous change.
But at the end of the day, he is just a bad guy.
He is messed up too because he's kind of got. Well, no, he's definitely got some mommy issues. We saw that at the end. I'm like, there's another word for issues that I would use at the end of the Penguin.
Yeah,
where he's dressing up his girlfriend.
Yeah, and
so issues is the best PG thing that I can.
Yeah, and I also full praise to Lauren LaFranc, the showrunner for this.
Yeah,
she was also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is something that's great, and I hope that that people let her just helm more creative projects in the future.
Yeah,
because this was phenomenal. It also because you've read the Halloween.
Long Halloween.
Yeah, and which is a big inspiration for basically all Batman adaptations since it was written. And this is kind of a different exploration of the whole thing with A Long Halloween, where Gotham stops being of the crime families and goes to the masks, the crazies.
Which this is how it should be.
And this is kind of a weird, a different exploration of that because all of the crime families are gone, and we haven't seen the masks yet.
Wow. How come I? Well, okay, we've got some like now because at the end of the Penguin, we saw a bunch of, if you want to call them crime families. You had the gangs essentially
Yeah.
kill off the biggest
Yeah.
or any competition. So you've now you've got a bunch of gangs thriving for that power.
Yeah,
And, they're trying to go after it.
all of the heads are gone. All of the people who kind of I like who like we assume like worked like the establishment of like the gangs, the heads,
Mm-hmm.
the mafiosos are gone, and everything's kind of running under the Penguins' loose control.
Well, we say that, but it's like he's still starting from scratch. He lost all the bliss,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, but he's at the top now.
He's at the top because there's no one else right now. So like the bar is low. He still needs to build up whatever contraband he's planning on acquiring. But like, yes, he's got the nice penthouse.
I think he's just running. I think he's just running stuff for everyone else.
Oh, you think that's the case?
Yeah.
I guess I really hadn't seen it like that, but I'm just kind of like, because he made all of his money off of the bliss, and that got car bombed essentially. So I assumed that I figured he still had money in the bank, of course.
Yeah.
He was laying low in
Crown Point.
Crown Point, and so like I figured he was sitting on a lot of money, but to be set up in a penthouse. So yeah, he's probably starting from scratch, and I love the comic accurate costume that we got at the end. I am still a little bitter that they gave us nearly everything, but we never saw him actually wear the top hat.
Yeah.
It was only in his hand, which maybe they'll save that for Batman Part 2. And I don't know if they would ever do this for us, but the monocle.
Yeah.
We need to have like something where he loses sight in one eye. He's like, oh, I got to get myself a monocle.
Well,
That was really bad. That was a really bad accent.
I think maybe we'll see that when we see more, if like we see more of like the costume villains in Gotham. But overall, I am very excited. I think that this. Okay. There are a lot of, one of the great things about this series was that all of the main actors like had standout performances.
Oh yeah.
Why am I forgetting his name? The character who played, like the actor who played the Penguin.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell did a great job as a Penguin. And Vic Sage was great. Isabella Gigante was great.
Isabella or Sophia?
Sophia Gigante was great. I don't know why she is. Isabella's her mother.
Yeah.
What to you was like a standout moment of this series? Like, what do you think is going to... Are you gonna
this is
remember
really
2
funny
years from now?
because I've got a professor for one of my film classes, and he always asks for a signature scene whenever we're done.
Yeah.
And this sounds like another iteration of that. But I think the scene that like really like made me realize like, yes, this is going to be the show. This is going to be a show that, like this dethroned some Breaking Bad episodes. I just heard. I've never seen Breaking Bad. Don't come after me. But like, I've heard that like it's like one of the best TV shows of all time, statistically speaking now. And so I have to go when Vic shot. Oh, what's his name? Smoke? What was his name? It started with an S. He shot a gang member who had been Squid. He shot Squid. And that was kind of like the moment where you can see the influence Penguin has on people and how they're willing to get their hands dirty for him.
Yeah.
And how smart he is
about
cleaning it up.
Yeah, about how he corrupts them like he corrupts Gotham City.
Right.
I think that was really great. I think that the moment that's going to stand out to me forever is and we can talk about, like, we kind of danced around it last time, but we can talk about it full tilt now, is the scene where he and Salvatore Maroni were fighting in the train car.
Oh.
And in the basement or whatever. Or
yeah.
and
the heart attack.
Yeah,
I beat you.
Yeah, and the moment where it's such like a vulnerable moment when he's not trying to be, and it kind of just like explains his character in one.
Right.
Moment.
He wants power. He wants to be seen. He wants to best everyone, even if sometimes the circumstances don't necessarily give him all the glory that he wants.
It's because this whole time you see this, like the whole series, you see a very calculating person. But then it's like the scene from the first episode where he shoots where he shoots Alberto Falcone in the stomach,
like multiple times.
He's a calculating person, but he kind of his inferiority complex kind of gets the better of him and makes him make bad decisions. And I think that I think that that's kind of what the Penguin is, what it has to be about. And they did a great job displaying that with those two scenes specifically.
Yeah. Now, one more thing, because we do only have 2 minutes before we promised everyone no spoilers.
Where's Batman?
Not where's Batman. We know where Batman is. Batman's around. I have seen this circulating around social media, and I think that there's solid evidence behind this. But I think the Court of Owls are going to appear in the next Batman movie for multiple reasons. First of all, Robert Pattinson kind of leaked it on an interview, and it was Paul Dano. He was like, dude, you can't say that. He's like, no, I'm speculating. And it's kind of like when Andrew Garfield said that he wasn't in No Way Home. We're like, all right, sure. But then this was the last episode where Oz meets up with the councilman in the court. Do you remember that?
Haiti, who eventually becomes mayor in the comics.
Right. I didn't notice this the first time around. I took some eagle-eyed viewer to catch this, but the drapes along in the walls of the courtroom are shaped like owls.
Ooh, that's cool. I like the Court of Owls. I think it's a great...
That's like a dead giveaway, I feel like. If you're in a court and the drapes are shaped like owls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. And we'll see what happens with that. Okay. Yeah. It is now 3:23.
Yeah.
We are back to the non-spoiler version of the show.
So I hope no one picked that up. Oopsies.
Well, and what we said wasn't really even a spoiler because it's speculation.
Yeah.
Max Boss, an executive at Warner Bros., confirmed that Peacemaker Season 2 is going to come in August 25th.
Yes.
Which is great. I think it's... Has it begun filming yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
wait, did you... Oh, yeah, no, they've been filming for a while.
Oh, okay.
We actually... I guess I forgot to show you this. I feel like a bad co-host that I was sitting on this, but HBO Max did a little it was like a 5-second teaser of Peacemaker because they were showing all their shows that are coming out in 2025, and just for a second you got to see the Peacemaker's crew. They're all cheersing alcohol, like beer bottles.
Oh, that's cool.
And you got to see Peacemaker. He's actually wearing his most accurate helmet. The one where it's kind of like the tube that goes around his head.
Yeah.
It's not like the one where, because he tried on a whole bunch of different helmets in the actual show. And so he's got the more of, I think it's the Human Torpedo. Is that? No.
I don't know.
Or I think it's the Force Field one. But yeah, it's really cool. And we also got a half-second glimpse at Rick Flag Sr.
Yes, played by Frank Grillo.
Yeah, who also played Crossbones in Captain America Civil War.
And he is also going to be Frank Grillo Sr. in the upcoming Creature Commander.
Which is something I love, that James Gunn is keeping things consistent across, animation and live action stuff. Because I'm sure he's going to be paving the way for, or at least he's kicking off the DCU with us. But I think the same will apply to Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn, who I did meet at PopCon and had a lovely conversation with for about 5 minutes because no one wanted to visit Sean Gunn at PopCon.
Oh, that's sad.
Can you imagine that? Yeah. So it was me and me talking to the actress. Her name is Michaela. Oh, I feel really bad, but I took pictures with both of them because she played Flores in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the bunny.
Oh, yeah.
And then she also played one of the, she was kind of like one of the maids in the Suicide Squad. Okay. She was like But anyways, but yeah, I think Maxwell Lord is doing animation and live action stuff too.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Finally, Arcane Season 2 Part 1 came out this Saturday, and in Season 2 Part 2 is going to come out this Saturday.
Was that?
It's 3. There are 3 parts. Each part has 3 episodes, and they're coming out each Saturday. And it stayed consistently good as the first season.
Okay, well, that's good.
They're doing new stuff, but like it's the same story that started like 4 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago. And it's like this is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It has continued to stay great. The animation continues to be groundbreaking.
Yeah,
like it is just so beautiful, and the character writing, it's so concise, and every single moment is just spectacular and has like 5 different levels.
Good.
The voice acting is great. Haley Steinfeld as Vi, and what's the name of the actor? She played she was in Fallout. Purnell.
Oh, I didn't watch Fallout. Yeah, but Ella Purnell.
You're
right.
Ella Purnell, she's great. She plays Jinx. She was also in Yellow Jackets, which is a great show everyone should watch. But it stayed great. There's some stuff where like we don't know what's going to happen, and stuff continues to change. Some characters have made some great decisions. Another great thing, Caitlyn and Vi finally kissed in the episode, which is like one of the things after the first season, because like they were like confirmed to be basically in a relationship, but they never kissed, and people were like, hey, what the heck?
Yeah.
But we saw that, and that's nice. But it also still meant something else. And it's really great. I don't want to say too much without spoiling it. Just everyone should watch it. Watch season 1 and watch season 2. It's great. Full endorsement from this season. All right.
Do we?
Yeah.
We just about ready
we're gonna move into Comic Corner now.
It's just about 3:28. Well, you got first. First of all, we got Absolute Batman.
Yeah, we both read Absolute Batman. It continues to be good. I think this one.
It's not coming out quickly enough. Quicker enough.
Well, I mean, it's a monthly release.
But I'm impatient.
The art stayed great. I wasn't totally sold on the Nick Dragotta art at first, but I think now I totally am. I think that the page layout is great, kind of like. And
it is very wordy. That was my only complaint, is especially on that page that you're at right now.
Well,
it's a lot of, like, I get it. You're at a poker table because
yeah.
Can I say what?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, Bruce Wayne is playing poker with the pretty much parallel dimension versions of a bunch of supervillains.
Yeah. Riddler, the Penguin, Two-Face.
Except they haven't become their villains yet.
Yeah, but like you can see those aspects of their personality there.
Yeah.
As well as Killer Croc, and Catwoman is not there.
The Catwoman appears at the end.
Yeah. But I think it's great because it's kind of like a homage to Dark Knight Returns. Mm-hmm. Because of like the 24. I mean, it's not a grid, but like the ton of panels on the page and the close-ups, and I think it works in this scene, and I also think that the flashback art is great.
Yeah, like, and just like how I love seeing how bats influenced Batman.
Yeah,
that's important. Everyone needs to know, like, the bats didn't just come from nothing. Like, there was a reason for the bats.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to read it. I think it's a good comic, and I think it's interesting enough in doing stuff with the Batman mythos, even though it's someone Scott Snyder, who's written Batman forever.
Yeah.
He's doing something interesting with it and different with it, and I'm probably going to stay with it. And
Alfred
is great.
Alfred's awesome.
Alfred, I think, is the star of this book. I think it's very interesting to have his narration, even though it's an Alfred that doesn't know Bruce.
And it looks like they might be forming an alliance now.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like Alfred was kind of out to get Batman in the first comic. So to see them actually working alongside of each other with no prior history will be very interesting.
Yeah. If we want to move on to Helen of Windhorn, number 6 came out this week. This is the end of this miniseries by Tom King, Bilquis Evely, and Mateus Lopez. It's the same team as Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I say that every time because everyone loves Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you love Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, you're going to love this. It's written very strong. There are a couple of like typical Tom King isms in there. Mm-hmm. If that's not for you, that's not for you. But I think it's great. It's kind of weird because a lot of the story wrapped up. Kind of finished at the age of in the last issue. Issue number 5 was the climax. But we kind of get a resolution to what this is. Like what exactly this is, but it's also kind of open-ended. And once again, the art stays phenomenal. All of the praise to Bilquis Evely. If you see the cover, it is this beautiful inside, which is crazy. And even though there were delays, I'm glad that they gave it the time. I'm glad that they gave her the time that she needed to finish this book because it is hard to do art like this.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to. I would definitely recommend once it comes in trade soon. If you're a trade waiter, then I would definitely recommend reading it. It's something new. It's something different. There aren't a lot of like gothic fantasy stuff on the shelves right now, so it's interesting to see that. All right. We both read Uncanny X-Men number 5.
Yes, we did.
What are your first thoughts on that?
I thought they were gonna kill Gambit. I really did. I was going to be really confused if Gambit actually died because, like, I understand the Eye of Agamotto can be confusing because, Doctor Strange handles it just fine, and I understand, like, there are rules for handling Eye of Agamotto, and I'm like...
I don't understand them.
I kind of do, but it was just, like, I really was hoping that they didn't kill Gambit, so thank goodness they didn't. But it looks like Sarah Gaunt, right? That was her name. Right?
Yeah.
She's no longer a threat. Rogue took care of business, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Rogue was
kind of zone out for a second.
Yeah. Rogue kind of was like the focal character for this point.
Yeah.
Today, and we were seeing like a lot of different stuff, like her interactions with someone whose like personality she accidentally absorbed. And that's really strong. I don't want to exactly like say what it is. And kind of like some flashbacks of like some speech therapy stuff that she did in the past and kind of talking about that. I feel like something was cut in there, kind of exactly explaining what that was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gail Simone wanted to say something else about speech therapy and they'd be like, you can't say that. Not saying that we know for sure that that's what happened. But kind of, Rogue speaks with an accent, kind of like someone trying to curb that. And at the end, like Gambit was like, but at the end, like her teammates are just like, just like we like you talking like yourself. So that's kind of sweet.
Yeah. I thought it was funny that someone literally pointed out that Nightcrawler isn't carrying his pirate sword.
Yeah.
That got a good chuckle out of me because I'm like, yeah, I mean. He's not carrying a sword, and he justified it, saying he's not a killer anymore, and I respect that, of course. But also, Wolverine got his little moment too because Jubilee was talking about how much Logan has meant to her because he's saved her from death. I think countless times at this point. So you were saying he's best as a supporting character, but. Well, I agree. Like, I believe that Wolverine shouldn't always be in the spotlight, and it does give me more appreciation for Wolverine when he is just a supporting character. Because then when he comes into when he gets his own issues, it's just kind of like, all right, he's back. I have to miss him a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how it should go.
But yeah, I mean, this is overall a good tier. I don't know if it's exactly my favorite on the X line right now because there's a lot of them right now, but the art continues to stay good.
It's the only one I'm following.
Solid.
I kind of shook everything else off because all of these timelines get so confusing.
Yeah, it's if you ever have a question, I might be able to answer.
I'm sure you're a freaking X-Men encyclopedia, so
I get. I mean, kind of. There are a few like blank spaces in there.
How many
like,
X-Men issues have you read?
Over 300.
Yeah.
But there are like thousands of X-Men issues.
I understand that.
There's a fair amount of stuff from the 90s that I'm missing, and a fair amount of stuff
but
from the
you
2000s.
weren't born in the
from
90s.
The 2010s. That I'm missing.
So-
Well, I've read most of the old school stuff.
Yeah.
And then like the Claremont era stuff, and then I read a lot of the 2000s and a lot of like the Krakoan era, and like some of like but I kind of have a blank spot for most of the 2010s.
Yeah. The rest of my comic books this week were on the spooky side. I actually haven't gotten around to Creature Commandos, but the last time I left off the Creature Commandos, Brainiac was infiltrating the government and trying to weaponize the Creature Commandos. So I'll report in on what actually happened, but I spent the past hour of prep time before we started the show catching up on everything that I've missed because it's been a busy life for Grant. But then I did pick up Werewolf by Night #4, which was really cool.
It's a red band, right?
It is a red band, so there's blood and it's violent, and that's exactly how it should be.
It's a horror comic.
If it's a horror comic, I mean, currently there's a Blade run going on, and it's also red band.
That's good.
Believe if you're going down the path of monsters and werewolves and vampires, it should be red band because it should be creepy and it should be horrifying. But last time we left Werewolf by Night, he was imprisoned in the Savage Land by Khazar, and in order to get freedom, he was released to fight a skyscraper-sized dinosaur, which was really strange. But then he got banished because he caused too much carnage, no pun intended, around the Savage Land. So he got kicked out, and it looks like there's a little hint what our next issue is going to look like, and it's a cover of Werewolf by Night fighting the Hulk. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I also read NYX #5. It continues to be a strong series. The issue didn't blow me away like it did last issue, but like it's still a very strong series from good writers, and the art is the art is good.
Yeah.
And we kind of we get an end to this first arc, and that's good, and it's a good end, and it makes sense. I really like the way that they're writing Miss Marvel. I really like the way that they're writing Sophie Cuckoo. And it continues to be an X-Men book that's about where the X-Men are and kind of about mutantdom.
Yeah.
If that's not your thing, this probably isn't the book for you. But if it is, and it is definitely for me, then I definitely recommend this book.
Yeah.
And then you had
Deadpool #8, which as I was like halfway through it, I'm like, I'm gonna stop reading Deadpool because as of right now, Deadpool's dead. Which is so weird. If I'm gonna summarize this real quick, so Deadpool's daughter has taken up the role of Deadpool, and so she was sent on a mission, and she ran into Deadpool's ex from actually the story or the run before this Deadpool run, and she's like, yeah, my dad is dead. He's been dead for weeks, but he doesn't smell like he's dying. Like, he doesn't smell dead. He hasn't decomposed. He doesn't smell like death. And she's like, what if we can bring him back? And I'm like, okay, I understand that there's going to be a Deadpool and Wolverine run in January, but I mean, all of this, is he dead? Is he not dead? Like, it's just like, I feel like this could have been. I'm not a huge fan of the overarching problem right now, the fact that Deadpool is dead. Like, I understand that there are going to have to be like original takes and like, ooh, what if Deadpool actually died? But I'm just, at this point, like, his daughter isn't as quippy as Deadpool is, and that's why I love Wade Wilson, is because he's quippy, he makes inappropriate jokes in the battle, and as of right now, like, I completely and totally respect and love Deadpool's daughter. If she was quippy and if she made inappropriate jokes, that would have won me over. But she's not Wade Wilson.
Is this the first time that Deadpool's died?
No, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
no, sort of.
Yeah, but everyone else has died. Main thing.
Oh,
Action
wait.
Comics came out this week.
I'm getting that game in December.
Uh,
Sorry.
Action Comics 1075 came out this week. It's like milestone 1075 issue, which is like we had one a year ago. Whatever. Every 25 issues is a milestone issue now. It's good. The Mark Waid art continues to be good. There's one major retcon. And one, I think I said this last week. It's a weekly series. I think that this Mark Waid arc might end up being a classic Superman tale. The Supergirl story is fine.
I love that he's lifting the car. And
They have a bunch of covers on it. There's a big retcon in terms of, it doesn't sound big when I say it, but it is kind of big. The Phantom Zone projector was created by Jor-El, Superman's dad, and like normally in the Superman stories, like Superman like feels bad about like all like the people in the Phantom Zone, and that's kind of like a weight that he bears because like the Phantom Zone isn't like a humane prison.
Yeah,
because like you can't like, it's hard to be a person when like you can't interact with objects or like leave or like age and stuff. And he's kind of, but now like they're retconning that like, oh, like his dad actually didn't want it to be used as a prison. It was like, okay, like I guess that makes sense more with Jor-El's character, but it also kind of invalidates a lot of the prior stories.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not super upset about it. It's Mark Waid. He's a good writer and it makes sense within the story. But I'm like, okay, like it kind of takes a complexity out of the Phantom Zone now. That I think that we're gonna miss. Also, it's a landmark issue, and this has kind of been a plot that's been going through a lot of like backups in Superman and Action Comics. There's like an election for mayor, and Perry White has been running for mayor, and in this he's finally elected.
Oh wow!
So yay, good for
Congrats
Metropolis.
To President White.
No,
or Mayor White.
Mayor White. Yeah, I mean, there's more stuff. I don't want to exactly go into like all of that.
That's fine.
But yay, at least they have good election results.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move into the main event.
Yeah.
Of our, if you want to explain. What that's gonna
So we're going to be breaking down our best, worst, favorite retcons. I am going specifically from the MCU approach because as of late there have been some more significant retcons. So I've actually got my list pulled up.
Okay, I have mine on my phone so that we're gonna. So I think we're gonna do. We each provide one good retcon that we like, and then one one bad retcon we don't like.
Can I do one strange instead of one bad?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I restricted myself to only bad retcons. And I'm doing mine from all pop culture, but a lot of this is
actually.
comic.
I guess I do have a bad-ish. Never. All right.
Okay.
You go ahead. You go with the first one.
What I think is the best retcon of all time. It's like, and I think it counts as a retcon that Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker.
That was a retcon?
Yeah.
Oh.
George Lucas when he wrote when he wrote Star Wars, that wasn't his original thing. That is the best retcon.
I remember Mark Hamill talking about that. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, like when he wrote Star Wars, like the original Star Wars script, after the first movie, he didn't like that was not the intention. That was not where he was going. That was not the direction he wanted to go originally with Darth Vader. And then like when he wrote the second one, he was like, "Oh, this makes a lot more sense." And is phenomenal, and it is the best retcon of all time, and it I think has made for literally hundreds of good stories. And it just makes Star Wars all that much more memorable, and it makes and that coupled with Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship in the prequels is also great.
So I'm starting off. Are you done with yours?
Yeah.
Okay. So my strange retcon, and this can be up to your interpretation of whether it's good or bad, but after Captain America returns all the Infinity Stones to their respective spot in space and time, he goes back in time to live out the rest of his life with Peggy.
Yeah.
Meaning there are two Captain Americas that were roaming the timeline from 1940 something to 2019 2020?
Yeah.
Until the other Captain America died. Because as of right now, there will always be 2 Captain Americas from 2023 or from 1940 something to 2023.
Well, that one's also a weird one because it also like, okay, so is like the Peggy Carter show not canon anymore? Did that happen? Because like we know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. past season 4 didn't happen because they had the
It happened, but it happened before Captain America returned the stones.
Okay.
Yet after Captain America returned the stones too. This is why it's a retcon.
Well, because like, or I guess like he just like travel. No, because like specifically in that like in like through like the 50s, he's like, man, I miss Steve.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, sure.
So this is simultaneously before and after he returned the stones.
So like either she was like lying to everyone, but you know
they'll work around that, I'm sure.
Wait. So okay, and then I do a bad one.
You do whatever.
My least favorite retcon of all time. Actually, okay, I have to like choose between 2 of what is my least favorite. Okay, my least favorite retcon of all time is the story X-Men: Deadly Genesis by Ed Brubaker. Which is weird to say because I think it, even though we got 2 good characters from Darwin and Vulcan out of it, and even though like we got a somewhat good story afterwards, The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire, it basically character assassinates Professor X. If you're not aware, X-Men: Deadly Genesis is basically after the first team got like taken out by Krakoa in the 70s, there was a secret second team that Xavier and Moira McTaggart trained and sent there, and they all died. And then Xavier just like wiped that memory from everyone's minds. And it's
You've got a retcon on your list I had on mine.
Oh, well, don't look at my list. I haven't told you them yet.
Sorry.
All right, yeah. And it also kind of character assassinates Moira McTaggart before like all the retcon stuff all the good retcon stuff that comes later. All right.
We'll get to, because I was looking at the Wanda and Pietro one. Also, okay, so there have been 2 Korgs. I don't know if you've known about this.
2 what?
2 Korgs made of rocks.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that there were 2 Korgs.
Yeah, the first Korg.
Wait, in the MCU?
Yeah. The first Korg was in Thor: Dark World. Here, I've got a picture of him, and I'll throw a picture up.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I think I've only seen it I haven't seen it in a long time. I've only seen it like twice ever.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it for like 5 years.
So there are 2 Korgs. So sorry, I keep talking about like 2 different characters. So I've got another one in my back pocket for later. But yeah, there were 2 Korgs. So Thor has met Korg twice actually, and he actually had to fight the first Korg. He didn't fight the second Korg,
and he was like I guess it is a retcon because he was like confused, like because like he didn't like recognize like, oh, you're a different version of Korg.
And I do remember going back and watching Thor: Dark World, like after like I'd watched Thor: Ragnarok, and be like, that's freaking Korg, and they that was something that I just hadn't caught before.
Okay, at risk of doing too much X-Men stuff, what I do think is the best comics retcon of all time is that Magneto, it was a Holocaust survivor. It was specifically a Jewish Holocaust survivor at the worst one, because it recontextualized everything. It made sense, and it made it made like the Lee Kirby villain, who was kind of just like a typical superhero villain, like wahaha, into the most complicated character, like the most, in my opinion, the most interesting character in American comics. And a very important character, very powerful character that says a lot and continues to evolve and say a lot.
Yeah.
About a lot of different things.
Huh.
Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
This is my dumbest retcon that I've got. Tony Stark blew up all of his suits at the end of Iron Man 3, only for him to, he essentially got rid of the Iron Man title, and then he comes back 3 years later in Captain America: Civil War with suits of armor.
He came back immediately in Avengers 2.
Oh wait, I forgot Avengers
So it
2
was
happened
even
after.
dumber.
Yeah, it was even dumber.
It was even dumber.
Wow, bad Grant. I can't because I forgot that Avengers was 2014. Yeah, all right, my bad. Yeah, so it is even dumber because he still had not only did he have his suits or some of his suits still, he had the freaking robot army, the very thing that he tried to destroy.
Yeah.
He hated the idea of his robots being used as weapons. So what does he do in Avengers Age of Ultron? He makes more robots, which are then overtaken by Ultron, that are also used against civilians.
Yeah, which is kind of just like the whole.
He
MCU
repeated
problem of
his
not-
exact same mistake.
Yeah.
And like it was dumb.
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
A rare blip in what is like the best, like one of the best character arcs of all time. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's
No disrespect to Marvel or Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. It was just like that was really dumb.
Yeah. I remember even like when that happened, I was like 10. I was like, wait, did they not watch Iron Man 3? Okay. My other one, okay. I man, so many of these are X-Men. And I think this is the one you also have. Wanda and Pietro Maximoff are no longer Magneto's children in the comics anymore, and they are no longer mutants. That was a decision pushed down from people say is pushed down from Marvel editorial so that they could keep the rights to those characters in the movies. And it just invalidate all of their stories.
Right.
Like as much as I don't like No More Mutants, like but I do like House of M as a story, and it just makes the great character moments from that story not make any sense anymore, and it makes so much stuff. I mean, there is a good part of that where in Krakoa they call her the Pretender, which is fun, but that's just Hickman like using the cards.
But yeah, no, I mean they've essentially they forgot like they were not the children of Magneto.
Yeah, and specifically like he lied,
right?
Which is weird. Like Magneto does messed up stuff, but that's like weird for him to claim because like he has a big thing about family.
And now we're probably never gonna get Quicksilver with mutants or Wanda with mutants.
Well,
maybe.
Like even before then, they kind of like didn't like the fact that they were mutants.
Right. Like yes, they technically did mutate.
Yeah. No, they're just saying that they're like magic or whatever now.
Right. Oh.
Or like I don't even like totally understand what the explanation is.
Did the stones not mutate them?
No, I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird.
It's like a retcon that didn't come from
this
like
is
someone
this is why it belongs on the retcon list.
Yeah, yeah. All right. What's your next one?
Nick Fury said in Winter Soldier, "Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye." And
the cat thing?
Yeah, the cat thing. He made it sound so dramatic, like he was actually like freaking betrayed. And I'm not sure if he actually went blind from the cat scratch in Captain Marvel. But that would be, first of all, a really dumb way to get blind.
That's the implication. I think on one hand, it's kind of funny.
Is it though?
That is like a mystery. It's like, oh, it was like actually from like this cat.
If you think about everything that Nick Fury is,
yeah, it kind
would
of
his eyesight really, or half of his eyesight, get taken by a flirkin' cat? You see what I did there?
Yeah,
a flirkin' cat.
Yeah. The FCC, the or whatever you're called, flirkin is the name of the species of alien. Yeah, I love that movie, but like I understand why people have a problem with it, and like it's definitely like not where they were going for.
Like,
and
you should have had like a CIA agent who was like his brother, shoot him in the eye, and he survived it. Like that's how you should do it. Or it's like Wolverine's backstory. It should remain. It works best as a mystery. That's also true.
My next one is in the New 52. They retconned it so that Wonder Woman was the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta instead of like made out of clay and like given stuff from the characters. And I hate that a lot. Most Wonder Woman fans hate that. Because we're like, oh, so like you're taking away like the female empowerment angle of it.
Yeah.
or like most of the female empowerment angle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's
Yeah, because
Oh.
because instead of like women coming together and like deciding, hey, we're gonna create this baby who's gonna like fight for us, right? Um, it's like so.
I can. Yeah, that's. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan
it's
of
kind
that.
of gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross. Thanks, Brian Azzarello. All right, what's next for you?
The identity of the Mandarin, also Iron Man 3, because we got to see. I was very initially excited when I knew that the Mandarin was going to be an Iron Man villain, because he has been an Iron Man villain for a while. And when he turns into a joke and he's not the real Mandarin, he's just a stand-in, he's just an actor. I'm like, okay, so the Mandarin never existed, essentially. Like, it was just a scare tactic. And then in Shang-Chi, there was a real Mandarin.
I
And
didn't
he
have a
did
problem
have
with it.
10 rings. Now, I'm not saying I have a problem with Shang-Chi. That's the
Yeah.
Mandarin we should have gotten.
Oh yeah, yes. I
That's the
understand.
Mandarin we should have gotten. Not and Trevor Slattery did great. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. In fact, he's got an upcoming role in Wonder Man.
Yeah.
So
for.
it'll be really funny because they're both actors. So I'm sure,
Yeah.
whether they're acting alongside of each other or Trevor Slattery is like giving Wonder Man like advice on how to navigate the industry. I'm still excited to see how this all goes down. And it's nice to see that, we've still got, even an actor from Iron Man 3 is still active in the MCU today. It was just like, I really would have appreciated a showdown. And Mandarin could have been a more overarching villain too, because he's powerful. He's freaking powerful.
Yeah, the MCU kind of has a problem with just like
one off
their villains, which they might struggle with now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do a twofer since we're running out of time, and these are
Okay.
two that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
And
I'll,
these are
I'll let you talk about that because I'll be done with my retcon, so I'm all
and
ears.
these
for you.
are two really bad ones.
Okay.
Like one is Spider-Man Since Past. The one it's a storyline in a otherwise phenomenal J. Michael Straczynski Amazing Spider-Man run, where they say that actually Gwen Stacy cheated on Peter and had kids with the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
while they were dating.
That was gross.
It was really gross.
Because it was like Norman Osborn Green Goblin.
Yeah, and I can't even like on air can't even get into like exactly like the
how
grossest,
disgusting that is.
Like there's a page of it that is like so disgusting. I'm like, I can't because it was like right when they got rid of the Comics Code, and I don't like the Comics Code, but they're just like, we can do whatever,
right?
So we can.
So
show,
we're gonna
like,
push the limits.
Yeah, so we can show like the grossest. No one's gonna tell me to do anything, so we're gonna put the grossest panel.
Like, Norman's like twice Gwen's age, if that.
Probably more because they were
probably
in college, and he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
And there's just like, and it didn't. It's weird. Like I say, like the grossest didn't even show anything. If there's a panel from that, it is the grossest. It's the face that the Green Goblin makes, and it's the grossest
sinister.
thing I've ever seen.
It's freaking sinister.
It is just like it's so weird because it's in a great run.
Yeah.
The other one is another X-Men one. In the early 2000s, Uncanny X-Men. There's a storyline called The Drago by Chuck Dixon. Chuck Austin, not Chuck Dixon. Chuck Austin. So originally, Nightcrawler was intended to be the child of like biological child of Destiny and Raven. Raven like shapeshifted her like to be able to
Mystique, if you're not familiar with Raven.
Yes, or Mystique. Raven Darkhold Mystique, and they changed it so that instead she is the child of Mystique and the Devil. Or like one of the devils.
Yeah, I remember that.
Not Dormammu or Mephisto, another one of the devils. I forget his name, and it kind of ruined the character of Nightcrawler, because Nightcrawler is like the whole point of them is he looks like a devil, but he's not.
Right.
And it kind of ruins that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish that didn't happen.
But yeah.
But to leave it on a positive note. Okay.
You've got a positive note?
A positive note. Recently we have a great retcon that Dick Grayson actually did wear pants as Robin.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay. I mean, I'm always
That's a
going to
joke.
associate him in the green shorts, but
Well, I mean, because it's something that they needed to change.
right, because it was kind of weird.
Because it's like
It is weird.
It kind of made more sense
impractical.
Yeah, well, it made sense in the early 40s, but now like he would have actually been Robin in like the early 2000s, so
Right.
like people would have looked at that differently.
and been like, he looks silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people weirdly enough had a problem with it. I'm just like, hey, like 20 years ago was not the early 40s anymore. 20 years ago was like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I also mostly just said that as a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But that's our show. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in. I think I'm just going to start regularly uploading our YouTube videos every Thursday. So that'll give me about a week to edit them. So you can catch this episode on YouTube next Thursday if you tune in late or whatever. But we'll see you next week on 91.3 WCRID for our next episode, which will TBD. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
All right.